Morning, everybody. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you for being so welcoming this morning. It's really lovely to be here. It's been a lot of years since I was last here. I was talking to Lindsay. We were facing that way. Everything was a little bit different. But it's really great to be back. And in that time, you guys have continued to support us and support our work through our shoebox appeal. And I know it seems a little bit odd in February to be talking about Christmas shoeboxes, even odder when you did them for me in October. So I'm sorry for the delay in coming to talk to you about them. But they are a huge part of our year. I have got some pictures that might go up, I'm not sure. Yeah, super. So the shoeboxes, I know you guys make them and then Richard brings them to me so lovely, but there is a whole journey and a whole process that, thanks to our friend Brexit, has got so much more complicated. So it was a real struggle this year to get the shoeboxes to Romania, and we had to do a fair amount of fighting. But it always starts the same way. So the shoeboxes always start with Richard bringing them to me. And I take an annual photo of Richard. I've probably got a stock of varied Richard photographs. But they come to me, and I have a collection in my church in Colchester. And this year we had between 500 and 600 shoeboxes. And each of them are personalised, as you know. And once they get to me, we sort them all out, and then we box them up and send them via Kent over to Romania, which used to be a 5-day operation, and now it's more like a 6-week operation. But hey-ho, they got there. This year there was some discrepancy about sweets. Apparently we shouldn't have been sending sweets. So look out for that note this year if you're involved again. There was to be no sweets. At one point, the only solution seemed to be that I would fly to Bucharest and remove the sweets from all of the boxes so that they would release them from customs. Instead, they agreed that if I rewrote the list of the contents and didn't mention that there were sweets, that they would release my boxes. And that is what happened, which is fantastic. And there was a lot of prayer around the shoeboxes. But I'm really sorry, this year there will be no sweets in the boxes. It is sad. We'll buy some in Romania, don't worry. Nobody panic. So the boxes are sorted, they're sent on a van, and they are driven to Romania. It's always a wet day when we unload the boxes, which is why I'm rocking my Grim Reaper coat there. It always rains when we undo the boxes. But each of those boxes is filled with 10 to 12 gifts for the children. And when they arrive in Romania, we have to resort them and pop them into different sections for where they're going to go. And it always is one of my favourite parts of the year, is when all the boxes are unpacked in the chapel. And there are people here in your congregation who have been to Romania and delivered those boxes and seen those pictures. And our shoebox situation is a bit smaller now. We don't provide shoeboxes for the Romany gypsies because there is so many of them that getting the boxes to Romania has just become unobtainable, in truth. So we do food parcels in the village now. We haven't stopped our contact with them. It's just there's more like 1,500 children in that area alone, and keeping track on them and being able to deliver those boxes safely was just no longer possible. The parents are really happy because they love the bags of food. The children are not so thrilled with the situation. But that's what we had to do. So our team in Romania actually unload the boxes because we make sure they get there before we get there. And then they are, like I said, they're organised and put out in the chapel. So when our volunteers arrive, that's what happens. And then we start delivering. And delivering the shoeboxes is probably one of the best things I do in a year. And I don't take for granted that I get to see this fantastic moment in time that you guys all work really hard to make happen. When you make that box, that's kind of the end of it for you guys. And we're so grateful that you take that step and you make that box. And it gives us this really privileged moment where we get to go into someone's house, hand them a gift, say, Happy Christmas, and then spend loads of time looking through that with them. And it makes a ginormous difference. I can't tell you, really, the joy that the children get from it. And unless you're there, unless you've seen it, it's really hard to understand, especially when you're packing a toothbrush and a flannel. You might think, oh, Happy Christmas. But it makes a big difference. We work with a cross-section of families who have got a lot of money, families who have not got a lot of money. And the things in those boxes and the love in the boxes is the thing that is most fantastic for our families. I got a voice note from one of our mums. She got her boxes in January. They live a little bit further out. And she sent this voice note. I can't believe all of my children have got a present from so far away. If we looked after people next to us like you've looked after us, the world would be a better place. That's what she said to me, which is just the most beautiful thing to say. So when you make that box, and if you make that box again this year, remember that. Remember that it really is that real person and that family. And not only is it a Christmas gift, it's a witness of love, it's a witness of what Jesus asked us to do. And it's such a symbol of hope to the families we work with. So don't think it's just a box with a toothbrush and some other bits. It's a massive deal. So we deliver all over. We work with lots of different people in Romania. And the first place we deliver is to our community hospice patients. So we have roughly 180 children and young people on our community hospice. And that includes brothers and sisters. So it's not just one person that gets the gift. The siblings get the gift as well. That would be mean otherwise. And we also deliver our shoeboxes. I don't know what's next on the slide, sorry. Madalena Jickman. So we had a party at the hospice. Excuse my horrific T-shirt. Someone made it for me to wear for the Christmas party. And so the young people come to us. And at our Christmas party, we normally have lots and lots of little boys and girls come. And Santa normally comes. But this year we did it slightly differently. Because of COVID, we weren't able to get our young people together for about 2 years, which was a huge loss to them because they're their own community. So we brought some of our older guys in and some of our little kids who have grown up quite substantially in the last 2 years. And we almost had like a little reunion of our young people. And it was such a beautiful thing. There was one moment, so we work with a lot of young people who live with an infection called HIV, and they're living really well and they're looked after really well. But one of our young girls came and she'd found out she was pregnant, which is really exciting and we're really happy for her. But the first thing she did was go to one of our other young ladies, Rosie, who had a baby 4 years ago, and she asked her endless questions about how it was going to work, living with HIV and having a baby. And I thought, this beautiful thing that we've been able to create, she has nobody else to ask about this. She can ask our nurses, but actually they know the science, they know the medicine, but they don't actually understand or empathise her worries. Whereas Andrea knew that Rosie absolutely knows what's going on and can give her all the advice in the world. So from the outside, it looked like this Christmas party with gifts and pizza and all sorts of things. But for our young people, it's this hub of community where they can exchange thoughts and knowledge and be there for each other. It is its own community. So it was fantastic. It was fantastic. So yes, Christmas party. You made Madalena Jickman's box from here. And then the school. Oh, there we go, super. Then the school. Now, in your schools, I imagine you go all day long and your classroom is your classroom and there you stay. Is that right? Yeah, in Romania it doesn't work like that. There are too many children for the school. There's too many of them. So they come in different times. The little kids come in the morning and they only have to stay there until 12. And then they go home. And then the bigger kids come in the afternoon, but they have to stay there till 5:30. So it's not so great. But on this day, all 170 pupils come into the school, which is interesting because it's very busy. It's very busy. And they put on this beautiful performance for us, which, again, some people in this congregation will have seen. I have seen that performance many a time, but it's fantastic. And they are thrilled with their shoeboxes. There was a little girl, I don't know if you can see her at the front. She's got really pink leggings on, a pink coat and a pink hat. And she got a little heart-shaped notepad in her shoebox. And I've never been more grateful for live photo on my phone because I was just taking pictures. And as I'm taking them, she hugs this notepad to her chest and then raises it in the air and she jumps up and down because she's so excited with this little heart-shaped notepad. But if you don't have a notepad to take to school in Romania, you don't get to write on anything. They don't give you paper or books or pens or pencils. None of those things are provided. So when you put those things in their shoeboxes for school, it means they can carry on reading, writing and participating in their lessons. So it's a huge deal. And you made that happen. You made those kids that happy this year. So thank you. Thank you, thank you. The school system is so different and you make it possible for these kids. So I think it's like 7 or 8 years you've been doing, maybe even longer. 10 or 11? It's a long time. You've been making shoeboxes for a really long time, and we're really grateful. And if you think about that, I've had to ask Janet to move down to 50 shoeboxes, but to start with, you were making 100 or plus every year. If you think of those hundreds of shoeboxes over those years, that is such a big difference and so many lives that you've touched. So thank you, and I hope you'll continue making them for us. And I hope this year you'll just have that knowledge that they make such a gigantic difference. So thank you very much.